So in this video tutorial, we are going to learn different ILSs that are available in India, their categories, how we can categorize those library automation software into various groups logically, and evaluation of available ILSs in India. As a student of library information science, you need to select software. You need to know different kind of evaluation criteria on the basis of which parameters you are going to evaluate a library automation software or an integrated library system. Now, before going into the presentation mode, let me discuss some of the history of library automation in India. In India, library automation, the initiatives, the activity started in late 70s with the advent of, FoxPro and DBase. Those are actually attached with the fourth generation programming languages. So many people, many organizations started by using FoxPro at the back end to develop different kind of library automation system. But those are non-standard in nature. Non-standard in nature means those are not supporting any kind of standard bibliographic data format like CCF or MARC or Unimarc. So those are basically non-standard bibliographic format support system. For example, Gronthalaya developed by Instock. It was based on FoxPro at the back end, database management system, multi-purpose database management system. But the real initiatives or the real level library automation process in India started with the advent of CTSICs. CTSICs first appeared in the year 1985. It was a standard package as far as bibliographic data formats were considered. We can utilize common communication format and many other data standards like Unimarc and MARC, because it was supporting tag, supporting label, supporting indicator positions and many other things, repeatable field. So many organizations came forward. One of the very important initiative took up by the DECIDOC under the DRDO. DECIDOC you all know. So DECIDOC started an initiative which is called Sanjay on the basis of CTSICs version 3.0 at the backend in the first half of the decade of 90s. So later on that Sanjay evolved with WinSanjay with the availability of the WinIC software package from UNESCO. So then onwards, the integrated, those are not integrated library automation software or integrated library system. Those are basically using CTSICs as bibliographic database management system at the back end. But the real life integrated library system started coming India in the latter half of in the middle of the decade of 90s. Lot many foreign software came. So interesting history is there related to ILSs in India. So let us move towards the presentation mode. So please remember, the objective of this particular tutorial is to know the categories, the logical categories of ILSs available in India and their evaluation, so that we can select what particular software will be right for my library. So let us move. Now the title of this particular deliberation is ILSs in India, Categories and Evaluation. ILSs available in India till date in the from the decade of 90 to till date, that means last 30 years, ILSs available in India can be categorized on the basis of two different train of characteristics. One is the distribution policy, whether these softwares are closed source software or open source software, and second one is the place of origin, that is the point of origin, whether it's a foreign origin, that means a software originated in foreign and marketed in India, or a software with Indian origin like LibSys or Sol, or a software, a hybrid kind of software which originated in foreign countries but marketed and customized in India to suit the Indian environment. So let us go one by one. First we will go by the distribution policy, then we will come to the place of origin. Now as per the distribution policy, there are three categories of software, as you already know. The concept of open source software, closed source software, closed source freeware, you all know. So there are three kinds of distribution policy: closed source commercial, closed source freeware, and open source. So in the again we divided, you can see the graphics here. We have divided the all Indian library system into three categories: large library system, particularly university library, national libraries; medium range library system, college libraries, public libraries. Public libraries means district library or state central libraries. Then small scale library system like school library or very small college library. So if we go by this kind of categorization, large library system, medium range library system, and small library system, then again we formed another three-level matrix: closed source ILSs available commercially, closed source ILSs available freely, and open source ILSs available alongside the source code. So you see here, if we go by the cross section of this particular cell, so large scale library which are using closed source commercial ILSs. So available are two: Virtua ILS and ILSs. Virtua is originated from foreign, basically a company called Virginia Tech. So this is called VTLS, Virginia Tech Library System, headed by an Indian, Dr. Vinod Chachra, but it is the origin is in foreign. Then in this group, ILSs is there, which is of Indian origin. Then in the medium scale, we have a closed source commercial product like Slim 21 and Soul. Although Soul is some places available free of cost, like northeastern part of India, but Soul is a commercial software. And for small scale library, we have Autoliv and Nirmal. So Autoliv and Nirmals are very popular in the southern part of the country, or southern part, South India basically. So in the second group, we have closed source ILSs meant for large but freely available for large scale library system. ABCD is a web-enabled library automation software which is utilizing CDSIC's version 3.0 at the backend and WWICs at the front end. Then in the open source category, we have Evergreen ILS and Koha version 3.x onwards for large scale library system. Similarly, in the medium range, we have closed source freely available software eGranthalaya. eGranthalaya is is freely available. Anyone can download, developed by NIC, but it's a closed source software. Then WebList, another medium range, another open freeware available for medium range library system. Again, WebList is based on also CDSICs. Now, for medium range library, Koha version 2.x or earlier versions of Koha meant for medium range library system. NewGenLib is also meant for medium range library system. Now, in case of small scale library system, we have many open source options like Emilda, PHP My Library. Presently, PMB is coming or emerging in a rapid way. So in the closed source freely available group, we have LAMP. LAMP is against a menu-based system meant for small scale libraries. It is developed on the top of CDSIC's version 3.0. So Librarian is there. Again, you can download Librarian free of cost, but the source code is not available with us. So this is the classification of available ILSs in India according to as per the distribution policy. So let us move to another group. So open source ILSs that are in use in India, we can categorize by maturity level. So in the earlier tutorial, we also came to know about this kind of categorization. So if we go by the use of different kind of open source software in India, we can categorize under fairly matured group. Koha and NewGenLib in this particular group is very popular in India. Then in the moderately matured group, we have many, but PHP My Library is actually utilized by some of the school and college libraries in different parts of the country. In the infancy level, we have many open source software, Avanti library. None of this actually utilized by any of the Indian libraries, but this PMB software is coming very rapidly, and now it can move towards from infancies to the moderately matured group, and some of the Indian libraries are watching closely the development of PMB. And experimental level, we have Quali ILS and Folio, but none of the Indian libraries yet started utilizing or exploring these options. Now another group of categorization we can do, because classification or categorization is based on the train of characteristics. So earlier the train of characteristics was the distribution policy. So in this slide you can see the train of characteristics as their point of origin or place of origin. So place of origin we can divide into three groups here. ILSs of foreign origin, originated in foreign countries but utilized by Indian libraries. ILSs developed over ILSs of foreign origin. That means ILSs, the actual origin is foreign countries or it has got foreign origin, but that is customized and changed or modified according to the Indian environment. And the third group is purely ILSs of Indian origin. So again, we can go by the large scale library, medium range library system and small scale library system. In the large scale library system, ILSs of foreign origin we are utilizing in different libraries of India are Alice for Windows, originated from Australia, Evergreen, open source, originated in US, Koha, again it's an international initiative, VirtualILS. VirtualILS is a commercial software. So first and the last one are the commercial software, and Evergreen and Koha are open source software. These are all meant for large scale system. Now in the medium scale system we have Koha version 2.x, that means earlier version of Koha, and Emilda. A few Indian libraries are utilizing Emilda. But nowadays Emilda is considered as an inactive ILSs. Last 3 years there was no development, and some of the small scale libraries are utilizing PHP My Library, OpenBiblio and PMB. So people in the mid range who are utilizing Emilda, they are now thinking to switch over to PMB. PMB is actually coming up very professionally. Now in the second group we have, second group is quite interesting here. We have ILSs developed over ILSs of foreign origin. So NGTLMS developed over TLMS package that is meant for large scale library system. Many Indian libraries are still using this NGTLMS, next generation total library management system. Then we have WinSanjay, ABCD, both are based on CDSICs. WinSanjay is based on CDSICs for Windows and ABCD is based on CDSICs version 3.0 DOS version, but it is also supported by WWICs in the front end. But small scale libraries we are utilizing LAMP, originated from Pakistan, based on CDSICs version 3.0, WebPlace, originated in Belgium, meant for developed over CDSICs and along with the WWWICs. So ILSs of Indian origin for large scale we have many actually: LibSuite, LibSys, Mekis, NewgenLib, NextLib, Slim21, Soul, etc. But many of the other software, historically those are utilized, still utilized by some of the libraries, but not these are not in the mainstream anymore. ILSs, Ulysses, TULIPs, these are all historically mentioned here. Nowadays nobody utilizes it. But Suchika was a software developed by Instock on the basis of Granthalaya, where some of the libraries are still using, some of the CSL libraries are still using it, or recently some CSL library mostly switched over to Koha, but they took the data from Suchika. So in the middle range we have eGranthalaya, Libra, Librarian, ListPlus, NetLib, Nirmals. Nirmals is very popular in South India, and Slim++. Slim21 or Slim++ is very popular in the western part of the country, particularly in Maharashtra, as it is originated or based on, it's a Pune based software product. So similarly in the small scale system we have eGranthalaya, Golden Libra, Libman and many more. So these are the 36-37 software can be categorized into by a matrix. So 3 types of library and 3 types of software, and each cell represent actually cross section of the row and column. So this is a kind of classification or categorization we can do for the ILSs packages available in India. Some of the packages are mentioned here only for the historical reason. Those are utilized previously by many libraries, but nowadays they switched over to more mainstream packages like Soul, LibSys, Koha, NewgenLib, Evergreen, eGranthalaya, Now, as I said that sometimes as a library professional, you need to select a particular ILS. Suppose you are first time you are going to utilize ILS in a library, or you are thinking to switch over from an existing ILS to another ILSs. So you need to know that how to evaluate a particular ILSs, particular integrated library system, for the purpose of selection, for the purpose of implementation, because software is a very costly affair. If it is also open source, then also your data entry activities, commissioning of a particular software, hardware procurement, network establishment, all requires money. So you need to be very careful at the time of selection of a particular software. You need to take into account your technical expertise and technical help available in your organization, and many more other things. So here parameters of evaluation for a particular, from a software specific parameter of evaluation can be studied under the following group. Available services, what are the services available inside the ILMS package. Functional checklist, whether they are claiming these are the functions available, whether they are actually functional or not, that we need to check through a checklist. Data conversion and backup utility, if you are trying to move from one software to another software, so data conversion is a very important thing. And in future also, no software is permanent. In future also you need to switch over from one software to another software. So data is most costly in case of library automation. Suppose you are procuring your system by spending rupees 2 lakhs, so another 2 lakhs you spent for hardware and network, so altogether 4 lakhs you spent for your total library automation package. But you think, suppose you have 1 lakhs of document, if each book takes at least 15 rupees for data entry activities and other thing, so 1 lakh book will cost around 15 lakhs. So whereas you are spending only 4 lakhs in procuring your hardware and software, you are actually spending 15 lakhs to manage your data, to convert your data from print to digital. So that data must be free. That data you should carry forward to other software when you are switching over from one software to another software. Second important factor is the backup utility. You need to know how to take backup, because at any point of time something happen, your hard disk may crash, your network may not working, and many other things may happen. So backup, regular backup utility is a very important feature and factor for a library automation software, because as I said, data is most important component of library automation. Then next one is the standards compliance. You all know that from the previous tutorial that the emerging trend in the domain of library automation is that open source and open standards. So many open standards are coming. So if a particular library automation software is not compliant with different global standard, then that software cannot interact with the many other software at the time of requirement. And in future is integration of a different kind of workflow and different kind of software. For example, most of the academic libraries who are previously using ILSs now utilizing discovery interface as a search interface. So that ILS must know how to talk to the discovery interface in the front end. So there are many standard protocols are there, ILS DI, REST endpoints, etc. So your software must be compatible with that kind of standards. Next comes the hardware and companion software. Now suppose first you do not select hardware, first you select software, then according to the selection of software you need to select hardware, because different software requires different kind of hardware specificity, like storage area, like your RAM, then different kind of network compatibility, etc. So companion software means suppose when you are taking a particular library automation package or selecting a particular library automation package or integrated library system, you need to know what are the backend software required to install and to run that particular software. For example, if you are selecting Soul, you don't think that Soul is cost around rupees 50,000, but you do not make your budget by only 50,000. When you need to install Soul, you need to have Windows NT or Windows Advanced Server as operating system. 5 license user cost around 1 lakh. Then you need to have a MS SQL, again 5 license user MS SQL. It's a relational database management system from Microsoft. It again going to cost you. So when you are spending only 50,000 against Sol, you are actually spending 2.5 lakhs to 3 lakhs to procure different backend software produced by Microsoft companies like Windows Advanced Server, MS SQL, and different other like IIS, etc. So when you are installing suppose an open source software like Koha, there also you need to know that Koha cannot run alone. It needs Linux based, any Linux flavor, then MySQL or MariaDB at the back end, Apache as web server, and Perl as programming environment. So similarly, many other software may require different other companion software. For example, NewgenLib requires PostgreSQL database management system and JDK. So this you need to know that particularly a modern age of third generation library automation software is not simple .exe file that you can download or procure and double click and it will be installed. So it's a very complex system. You need to know what are the third party software required for running and installing that particular software. Then finally you have to test the performance module by module, within a module, within a sub module, different kind of facilities or activities you need to test. So let us go one by one. So in the generic parameters, if we go by the service availability, then we can divide the entire services originated from an ILS, be it open source or be it closed source, can be divided again into 3 groups. Core services, which we need for managing most of the basic operations of a library. Then comes the enhanced services, and then come the value added services. So core services are the minimum essential services that need to be supported by an ILS. Then comes the enhanced services, which are good to have inside your library automation system. It will make your life easy as a librarian. And then value added services, which can help our end user in a much more efficient way. So in the core services, the core modules of any ILS should be acquisition. It should support acquisition through acquisition module, cataloging module, circulation module, OPAC, serials control, bibliographic format support like Mark 21 family of standards, at least Mark 21 bibliographic format or Mark 21 authority format, data exchange format so that you can procure data in Mark XML or in ISO 2709, and that must be UTF-8 in compliant, that is Unicode compliant for multilingual data. Article indexing facility, retro conversion facility, standard report generation, and system administration. So these are minimum level requirement for a library automation packages, and you must check whether these core services are available or not. In most of the ILSs, these are considered as core services and must be available, but it is always better to check. Now, in case of enhanced services, these are the considered as enhanced services: customized report generation, graphical user-based user interface, reservation facility or hold facility by the end user, interlibrary loan protocol support, ILL protocol support. During our previous tutorial, I have shown you or I have demonstrated you that presently ILL or interlibrary loan is a part of Koha ILS. Then multilingual support through Unicode. It's very important for Indian libraries because we have 22 different languages in our country. Union catalog, or if a particular library supports different kind of branch libraries, so there should be an automatic union catalog for all the branches. We don't have to do anything. So that kind of union catalog support, authority control support or control vocabulary support is very important for bibliographic database management. And here you need to check whether this particular ILS is supporting integration of Mark 21 bibliographic format and Mark 21 authority format seamlessly or not. And other enhanced services for a library professional would be very helpful, like online help, online tutorial, power search facility, that means supporting of different kind of sophisticated search operator, Boolean operator, relational operator, positional operator, etc. Internet support or intranet support, that means you need to check whether this particular ILS is web architect, has got web architecture or client server architecture. Web architecture is a better options in the present days environment, because internet is acting as a platform of scholarly communication. Multimedia interface and multimedia support, barcode support, and backup utility. Backup utility here again, very important. Backup and restoration both are very important, and that should be the part of your enhanced services. Now in the group of value added services, we have patron self service through RFID. That means you need to check whether your system is RFID compatible or can interact with the different kind of RFID systems, radio antenna, then self check boxes, etc. It should support smart card present day, online user training and orientation support, stock verification facility, members photo ID card generation, barcode generation for books, real-time fine calculation and receipt generation, gate pass generation. So all these are now part of the value-added services, and you must check whether these are present inside the ILSs or not. Now you see in the next part we can go for different kind of data related activities, generic parameter functional checklist, like data related activities like search capabilities, data entry and editing, then bibliographic item support, item file support, maintenance, cataloging editor, authority control, inventory control in the circulation module, all are data related activities. So these are the functional checklist you need to perform. Then service related checklist are check out and check in circulation, renewal in case of circulation, whether it is supporting renewal or not, circulation related reports generation, then fines and fees calculation, and financial interface to collect fines, notice production, different kind of holds and recalls, different kind of alerting services through SMSs and emails. So that kind of service related checklist you need to perform. Now at the administrative level, you need to check whether it is capable to generate different kind of statistics, whether it is supporting export and import of bibliographic and authority data or not, fund accounting, and digital media archiving. Other generic parameters related to data conversion and backups are as follows. In case of data conversion, you need to check support for data conversion from other library systems and adherence to the international bibliographic data standards and protocol. It should be checked extensively. It is very important, because this kind of bibliographic data supports forms the core part of an ILS in terms of the future requirement. Then shared cataloging, whether it is OIP image compatible, then ILSDI compatible, or REST endpoint supports are there or not. A different kind of metadata schema support and interoperability support comes under it. And backup and restoration, backup facility in suitable media is also to be checked in view of data recovery at the time of need. Now another important parameter are the global standard supports. As I told you, the present trend is towards the open standard, so you need to check how many standards in each of the modules and submodules the selected ILS is supporting. Say for example, cataloging, these are, again I am telling, these are the minimum essential standard support. In the cataloging, we need to have ISO 2709 for bibliographic data interoperability, and both for bibliographic data and authority data. And it should support an array of standards according to your choice. Mark 21, although Mark 21 is considered as the global de facto data standards, but many libraries are still using Unimark and CCFB. So Z39.50 protocol standard for distributed cataloging is very important, because one of the principle of cataloging is that before starting bibliographic data entry, we always check whether this particular document is available in the catalog database or not. If not available, then we start cataloging. Similarly, Z39.50 is also doing the same thing for you, but at the global scale. If any of the libraries throughout the world has cataloged this particular document, then why should I? I simply will collect those bibliographic data through Z39.50 protocol in my local cataloging editor. I will edit according to my need, according to my rules and standards, and then I will save it. So it can save energy, manpower, and money. And apart from that, you can achieve consistency and standard compliance at the time of bibliographic data entry. So Z39.50 support, at least the client part, is very important. And if server is available, that is better. That means in future you can support other libraries through providing bibliographic data services. Now at the holdings level, we need to support on an ILS, need to support Z39.71 standards for holding, or BS ISO 9735. In case of accounting, it should support electronic data interchange for administration, commerce, and transport, which is called EDIFACT. At the circulation level, we should check whether it is supporting NCIP or not. NCIP is a protocol developed by NISO. It is known as NISO Circulation Interchange Protocol. It allows us, suppose ISO 2709 allows us to transfer bibliographic data from one system to another system. Similarly, if a particular system is NCIP compatible, then we can also export and import circulation data from one system to another system. So it is becoming very important nowadays. And RFID, at the table level of RFID, we need to check whether it is supporting SIP2 or not. SIP2 has got many ISO standard, ISO 285601, 2 and 3. So all standards are related to RFID. Then we need to check whether it is supporting multilingual data entry, multilingual search or not. That means whether it is Unicode compatible or not. And more importantly, Unicode support various UCS, Unicode character standards. That means UTF-8, UTF-16 and UTF-32. So UTF-8 is very important to your library system must be compatible with UTF-8 and in general, and Unicode in particular. So other emerging standard which should be supported by an ILS are Mark XML, MATES, MODS, SRW, SRU, all developed by Library of Congress. Z39.50 server, OAI-PMH, it's basically modern libraries can provide harvesting, can support harvesting by other external software, either OAI-TC format or in Mark XML format. So OAI-PMH support is nowadays mandatory if you want to connect your ILS with the front-end discovery. Then ILS, DI and REST endpoints are also very important for external connectivity. Now, hardware and third-party software requirement, we need to check that what is the storage capability you need to have for installing this particular ILS, what processor type it support, and what is the minimum RAM requirement for your server and for your clients in case of a client-server architecture system. So software level, operating system, backend RDBMS, programming language environment, all are third-party requirement as I explained earlier. Then performance testing need to be done. ILSs should be evaluated by checking some of the performance testing like transaction throughput capacity, response time against a particular search or particular module functionality, hardware functionality, module functionality, conversion testing, that is data conversion testing, database loading and index building. So these are actually that throughput capacity we need to check for every ILSs we are actually going to select. Now, if you can select a commercial software, but you can select an open source software. So all the parameters we discussed so far are meant for both the groups, both open source software and commercial software. But in case of a commercial software, if you are selecting on the basis of the foregoing parameters, a commercial software you are selecting, then additionally you need to know the vendor viability, whether the vendor is in the market for last how many years, is there any international presence of the vendor, how long has the software development been in the library systems industry, how long has the library system you are interested in been on the market, who use their products. So all these are important questions to ask to judge the vendor viability. Then you need to check in case of a commercial software training and customer support, whether adequate training facilities available or not for your staff member, for yourself as a librarian. Then if in case of troubleshoot and problem, what is their way, whether on-site customer support is available or not. So those are actually needed to be known. And finally, the documentation, complete documentation both in hard copy and machine readable format must be available with the package, along with regular documentation updates and release notes. So summary of discussion, we can say that we need to go for the evaluation parameters under 3 heads. Then we need to check generic parameters and functional requirements, specific parameter to be considered for evaluation of commercial ILSs, and parameters for important for evaluating an open source ILSs. An open source ILS, there is no customer support, no on-site support, no on-call support. So you need to check how strong is the user community. If you post a particular problem, after how many hours you are getting attention or getting an answer. So this kind of specific parameters are important for evaluating an open source ILSs. So that's all about ILSs categorization and their evaluation. And you need to be very careful when you are selecting a particular software. It's not always mandatory that you need to go for an open source software. Sometimes you need to select a commercial software also, but you please remember the point we discussed so far. So thank you very much.